As creators, we actually have to be very careful who we listen to, because you could be listening to someone who's telling you things because they literally want to kick you off your path.
Our previous episode was about spotting the inner critic.
You don't have to be at the highest level to begin to advocate for others.
This episode is about defeating it, from handling outside voices to staying creative in uncertain times.
Over the years, I've learned to distinguish between constructive feedback and projections.
With a lot of us creative people, the only times we get compliments is from other people.
So as creators, if we think about feedback from that place of that could be a very negative loop to put yourself in.
Yeah. Be careful of a naked man who gives you a shirt.
How do you deal with negative feedback or criticism? How do you deal with negative feedback?
Do you even get negative feedback?
I do.
Do you? I feel like you just get good vibes coming your way.
Well, maybe because I don't process it as negative feedback. So let's start there, right? I don't process it as negative feedback. I process feedback as feedback. And I think over the years, I've learned to be able to clarify or distinguish between constructive feedback and projections. Because I've also got feedback where it is a projection, where I can identify and say, yeah, this is not really constructive. This is coming from either your fear, or it's coming from, your personal experience, or it's coming from your assumption that I can't do it. And because you think I can't do this particular, or it can't be done, then you're critiquing it a little bit more. Sometimes it can come from a place where the other person is tired, is fatigued. As you said, you're tired, you don't have any energy left in you to do this particular thing. So you might come across as like, I don't think we should do it. I don't think it works. Yeah. It's, and I usually have to sit down and process and think about it and ask myself, was that constructive? And then I ask the person questions as well to really understand where that's coming from. But I never take it to heart. I never think that it has anything to do with my person. I try not to internalize feedback. I look at feedback as an opportunity to do better. And because I look at it as an opportunity to do better, I take it very seriously. When I teach, for example, or even with my coaching for clients and things like that, I always have feedback forms. Feedback forms is something that is non-negotiable for me. We even have this on our show, is the guests giving feedback on how the show went for them, what we could have done better, could we have started on time, those type of things, because it helps us improve upon our process. So I take that seriously. But again, as I said, I don't internalize it. I'm just like, how can we do better? And maybe because I'm always in that, I always have that quest to be the best version of myself. And so as creators, if we think about feedback from that place of I want to be the best version of myself, and so I'm going to listen and I'm going to integrate the aspects of that feedback that are necessary to move me into the next step. I think we think about it from there versus, it's about my character, it's my person, it's me. And then that downs your energy and that makes you not want to keep going. That could be a very negative loop to put yourself in. So that's how I handle feedback, really.
Amazing.
Is it like that for you? Very similar?
Yeah. To just not internalize it. Sometimes I also try to check. Maybe this person is going through something,
Which is what I'm saying, projection. Right?
Exactly, depending, and I'm referring to criticism. Of course, with feedback from a client, for example, who's paying, of course, you need to listen to feedback. You want to be better. You want to make sure they come back. You want to make sure they're able to recommend you. So in those cases, you need to listen. And also, because you don't internalize it, you're able to know that this is feedback on the work, not on me. You. As a person, so yeah.
I want to touch on that because you made a good point about when you said criticism, this person is going through something. As creators, we actually have to be very careful who we listen to. Very important. Because you could be listening to someone who's in direct competition with you, who's telling you things because they literally want to kick you off your path. I've been in a situation like that. There was a period of my life where there was this other creative person who would always say things to me like, you care too much about telling your story. You're always trying to be out there, and they would always talk about the negative aspects of branding yourself or positioning yourself or talking about what you do. And they'll continuously say that to my hearing, almost as though, you're doing too much. You're not humble enough. You keep talking. And at some point, I had to sit down and think about it. And I realized that this person didn't have one post on social media, right? They were sitting in a place of fear, of like they couldn't tell their story. And so they were projecting onto me that I was telling my story too much. My own story was too much because you didn't know how to tell your story and you didn't really feel like you had a story to tell. And so as creators, we have to be careful about that, to also observe and look at the person who's giving you that feedback. Not or that criticism. Not all criticism and feedback is equal.
Yes.
And it's not all of it that you need to take. I know I started off by saying, it's good to take feedback, but look at the person who's giving it.
Yes.
And think about that, unpack that.
Yeah. They say I forget how the phrase goes, but be careful of a naked man who gives you a shirt. Just like, wear the shirt. Wear the shirt.
Yep. This question says, what does radical self-trust mean to you?
I think for me, it's knowing that after I have done my best, the rest is out of my hands. For me, it is doing my best with everything that is within my control, and then letting everything else go. But of course, that initial part of doing your best with everything that is within your control is so important. You need to focus on the factors that are within your control. And with the factors that are within your control, don't leave it to luck. Don't leave it to luck. Every now and then, I experience creators, all kinds of creative people, but I'll use creators, content creators for this example. They say, I want to hit 10,000 by end of May. And it's like, okay, that's a great goal, but you don't have any control over how people will follow you. You can't make people follow you. Well, you can, but it's very uncomfortable, You know how it is when someone says, follow me back. It's very uncomfortable. Sometimes when I follow them, and then when I get home, I unfollow them because they did it at gunpoint. But you should focus.
Salem has unfollowed you before. It's because you did it at gunpoint.
Yeah. Even yesterday, somebody did it to me yesterday. I'm not sorry. I forgive myself. Anyway,
yes,
you can't make people follow you. But what you can do is decide, I'm going to post every day at so time. I'm going to post 3 times a week. You can't keep doing the same thing you were doing before, right? So your goals should be more process-based than outcome-based. I try not to set goals based on like an outcome. I like that. Even with this, our show, we have goals, but it's not just we have processes
to get us to the outcome.
Get us to the outcome that we want. And if at any point we don't get the outcome we want, we know that our process, we executed it well. And we can always now go back to the drawing board and say, our process, did we execute our process well? Did we post everything we said we were going to post? Did we show up every day we said we were going to show up? Okay, so why did it not happen? Is it supposed to take longer? Were we too ambitious? Or on the days when we showed up, did we show up with the right kind of content? When we showed up with the right content, did it reach the right people?
Right people, yes.
Do you get? We're able to reverse engineer the whole process because we're not just sitting down and saying, 10K.
Yeah.
Then when the 10K doesn't happen, we now internalize the failure. I failed to reach 10K. You can't do that to yourself if you've not already focused on all the parts, all the aspects that are within your control. So
that's
for me,
powerful. Yes.
for me, radically trusting myself is trusting that all the parts that are within my control, I'll take care of it. Yeah. If I have to speak, I'm going to prepare. I'm going to research the guests. I'm going to research the audience, rather. I mean, if I'm moderating a panel, I'm researching who are the other people I'm talking to? What are they interested in? All the parts that are within my... If I get there that day and then sound is bad, I did my own part. Do you understand? And
I love that you're inserting accountability into that self-trust. It's not just saying, I trust myself. I know I'm good at this. I know I can do this. The Lulu.
That's the Lulu. That's not self-trust.
Yeah, you have to be accountable. Like, you have to know that. It's like, for me, as someone who is a visionary, right, which is one of my big gifts, I can see things and I see big picture. So I see big picture, and as you said, I then want to reverse engineer how we're going to get to the big picture. Because part of my self-trust process is that I've had to learn to really trust my intuitive self, because I've seen what it can do. I've seen the power of what it can do. When I say, guys, I know that logic is driving us in this direction, but trust me on this. I can't explain it to you in a logical way, but if you, like, I'm so sure, when I'm so sure, there's nothing that your logic can tell me, nothing.
Yeah.
There's nothing. It's actually crazy. I've had business partners where they're looking at me and they're saying, the logic is this. Like, what are you saying we should go here? And they learned to trust my intuitive self. They learned to trust my vision. They learned to trust that there's something I'm seeing and there's a way that I'm seeing it. Yeah. And I've also learned to give language to some of it, just because along my journey, I also realized that, Adora, like, you can't always say, it's coming from a place. It's here, I can't see it. Yeah. So I've also learned to give language and find ways to work within teams where I can sort of explain what I'm seeing and why I'm seeing it this way and speak to them in a way that I know that they can process it. So there's that. But the accountability side is I'm always willing to take the risk and be accountable for what happens if it doesn't work out. And I kid you not, I have a 99.9% rate of it working out. Yeah. It's a thing. And because I've learned that, I hardly insist on things, but when I insist on things, you can't move me. Yeah. It's an actual thing. Like, I tell people all the time, I'm like, sorry, you see in this collaboration, the non-collaborative side of me is the moment I have seen something, right, that is not going to shift.
Yeah, but, you know, that part of giving language to it is accountability. Because I have seen so many cases where, because a person believes something so strongly, they're just like, I feel it.
You don't understand it.
I don't expect you to understand. And they just stay there. Yeah. And that's where a lot of problems come from. That's how human beings become God, you know, which shouldn't ever be the case. Because it's like, no, I heard it. You're not there in my dream. But it's responsibility, it's accountability to say, I need these 10 people to take action in the direction of what I felt. In order for that to happen, and for them to not do it because Adora is a dictator that said, you do it because I said so.
You have to make them, you almost have to make them see it.
Exactly.
So there's a caveat to that. Yes, you have to make them see it, but I promise you, on your entrepreneurial journey, as a visionary, there are going to be times where the team doesn't see it, but you move them regardless.
Yes.
It's just what it is. If you look, if you read about any of the great guys, I mean, a great example really is Richard Branson. Richard Branson is a huge visionary. There are many times that Richard Branson has taken decisions that seemed silly, or him just waking up and say, hey, I mean, of course, it's not just him waking up. There's research that goes into those things. Because I was about to say him waking up and saying, you know, we're starting Virgin Atlantic, and then tomorrow it's like we're doing the cruises, right, with the ships and things like that. There's a vision that you see that sometimes you do have to semi-step into a little bit of a dictatorial position. Yeah. And this has been my experience, right? Because I know that in the direction that you're going logically, sometimes we're about to crash. And I've seen a better way. And so do I let the boat crash because I'm trying to play the group-friendly team game, or do I step in and say, I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, this has to
happen. You know, I've had to learn. I've had the different scenarios. I've had scenarios where I've had to be, where I think more often than not, I'm patient enough to give language. Yeah. But I've also had situations where I literally had to be dictatorial.
Don't you think having had situations where you've given language to your visions also builds trust?
It does.
To the point where when you switch and you tell them this is what's going to be, they're able to say, you know what, Adora has been right before. Yeah. When Adora says this, let's just do it.
100%.
Sometimes you even have like, so you have lower level staff, you have middle management, people that answer directly to you, and they're able to translate. You tell your immediate manager that we're doing it, period. And then they are able to now, translate to everybody that trust, don't 100%. Worry, trust everything.
Yes. I've seen that especially with like talents that I've worked with, where the logic said, we need to take this deal. And I said, no, we're not taking the deal. And then 2 days later, we're so happy we didn't touch that deal, you know?
Yeah.
And I try to explain the reason why we're not taking the deal, right? But again, when you look at the process, you're sort of like, no, but it makes sense. We should. Yeah. So I don't want to be on camera and say it's just a superpower, it's just a feeling. I actually believe and know that it is a series of things that I personally have built over time.
Yes.
Because I think I'm more perceptive than the regular human. It is what it is, right? And I can say that with my full chest. I'm more perceptive because I'm more observant than most people. I think normally as humans, because we're very busy, we're always thinking about stuff, our mind is always filled with things. We struggle with attention, especially as creators. Creators really struggle with attention. I'm very observant. I think I listen. I read people's energies. I'm more present than most people. So I can usually tell what's happening in situations. So it's a muscle I've built over time that has just helped me to see things faster than many people can.
Yes.
You know, because I've just built it.
Yes.
It's not just a gift. I don't want to say part of it is a gift, but part of it is also just harnessing that gift over time.
It's a gift that you've grown. So people who are singers a lot of times can sing. Like you come out of the womb singing, but you hone it. You know how to sing on key. You learn how to sing on key. You learn how to sing with a band. You learn how to sing in a choir, which are all very different scenarios. So like this struck me when you said this thing about Richard Branson just waking up and, you know, so to the untrained eye, it looks like he just woke up and said, we should come and do this crazy thing. His own is too much. But just like you said, he's done it 100,000 times. You know, he's made... It's like the thing they said about Jordan. At the time when he had the most baskets, he had also shot the most time. He had the most missed shots. Yep. So when somebody like that is talking, it's like, I've failed more times than you have tried. Yeah. I've done it over and over and over.
So what you see as a feeling is not actually a feeling.
It's more than that. More than that. Sometimes your heart is ahead of your tongue.
Your tongue.
Your mind, your intuition is ahead of language. Sometimes you can't even put it in language. You can try. There's other times when you have the time to try. There's times when you don't have the time to try. It's like we need to strike while it's hot. I can't explain it to you. I don't know why. But like, based on the fact that I've done this so much. So it would be wise of anybody who's working around you, for example, with the experience you have and the things you've succeeded at, to stop and listen.
And like I said, I will fight for it. Let's look at this project that we're working on. Almost every single person who's working on this project, I told many years ago that we were going to work together. Like I was so sure. You know, and at the times when I had each of those conversations, for some of them, they couldn't see how. Yeah. It was kind of like me in this place.
Yeah.
How am I going to work with you? You know, and then there were people who are also who also had certain things that were going on and saw certain visions for themselves that didn't necessarily intersect with what we're trying to build. But now it does intersect with what we're trying to build.
It's coming together.
Now, at the point where we said we're working on this collectively, if there was anyone who said, why Salem? I had to give language to why Adora and Salem makes sense. Now, as I'm giving language to that, there's also a part of me that is saying, it's not arguable.
If you don't get it, forget about it.
I'm going to try my very best, right, to explain it, but if you don't get it, like, forget about it. I'm going to have to take responsibility for whatever it is that you feel. Just what I mean. Same way that if you said to certain people, you're working with Adora, there'll be people who say, which is why we were talking about criticism, for example, or feedback. There are people who will say, oh yes, no-brainer, makes sense. There might be someone else who might say, but you can just do yourself singing now. Yeah. Like, you know, why don't you just do your thing?
Yeah, and that's okay. That's their own perspective.
That's their perspective. But there are certain things that you have knowledge of that other people will not have knowledge of, that is allowing you to make an informed decision on why our collaboration makes sense. Yes.
Yeah. We discovered that a lot of you who watch and enjoy these videos are not subscribed to the channel. We never want you to miss another one of our videos, and we want more people like you to be able to find them. So please subscribe.
So this question says, how do you celebrate your wins along the journey? And is that important? Is that a way to silence your self-doubt.
Yes, for sure. It's important to celebrate your wins, both the big ones and the little ones, honestly. There's something I started with my community online where we don't only celebrate when we hit a certain follower mark, but we celebrate when we reach a certain number of posts. So that's something I started doing when I was like 100 posts. I'll celebrate 500 posts. I'll celebrate 1,000 posts because, like I said earlier, you should only focus on the factors that are within your control. So if you've shown up the number of times you promised yourself you would show up, you should celebrate that. Don't wait till everybody has recognized it, because that's what a follower count is. Everybody saying, oh, I think you're worth following. But if they've not thought that, but you have proven to yourself, I said I was going to do this, I did this, celebrate it. And it's important to learn how to celebrate with small things, because we all know people that even when they have something big, they don't know how to celebrate. That used to be me, not anymore. Can never be me again. You know, where you had this huge project, you're looking forward to it, you finally complete it, and all you have, all you have is just a mild sense of relief.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be celebrating. You're supposed to be like,
cake, I'm buying balloons.
Yes.
Like, I did this.
I used to be one of those people who's like, birthdays are not that serious, you know, I beg, it's just birthday. But my mind has changed in the past couple of years. I'm just like, I deserve to be celebrated. And if nobody's going to do it, I'm going to do it by myself. It doesn't even have to be in the ways that everybody does it. It can be in your own way. It can be in your own little way, like going to walk in the park or going to see a movie. It doesn't have to be cakes and balloons and all of that. Or it could be a simple social media post, just acknowledging yourself, telling yourself that I see you.
Yeah.
Because one thing that happens with a lot of us creative people is the only times we get compliments is from other people. The only time we get any form of recognition or affirmation is from other people. And that's terrible.
Terrible, yeah.
Because we constantly speak badly to ourselves. We constantly put ourselves down, constantly tell ourselves, oh, you can't do it, you're not good enough. How can the relationship you have with yourself be one where you've never encouraged yourself, you've only spoken down at yourself? So those opportunities, in case you're someone who sometimes feels like, if I've not done something good, I don't deserve to celebrate, do something small so you can celebrate. You know, enter bus and celebrate. I took bus today. Celebrate. Start with those small things so that when the big things do come, you already have a culture of celebrating yourself.
Yeah. My best friend always says to me, every time I'm working on a project, one of the things she always says to me, she says, Adora, don't forget to watch the movie. You know, because you get so caught up being a star in the movie. So you're starring in the movie, you're directing the movie, and you don't get to watch the movie. Everybody else gets to watch and experience the movie except you, you know. And so it's something I go into every project with. I say, you know, Dora, don't forget to watch the movie. And I think when you are present enough to watch the movie, you see so many things to celebrate. There's so many moments to actually look at, because it's very easy to get caught up in the nitty-gritty where you're focused on the things that didn't work out and you don't actually see the things that went well and the things that are worth celebrating, you know. And so I've had to learn to sit in that place where I watch the movie while I'm in it and I'm like, man, that went well. So yes, I acknowledge that there were these challenges, but I'm seeing things that went really well, and I always find ways to celebrate it. I think that the more that you celebrate yourself in that way, as I said earlier, it's like when you step out, because you're used to validating yourself, you're not continuously seeking third-party validation. Like I've already given myself the accolades before you give it to me.
Exactly. No, but that part just has me so emotional, honestly, just thinking about.
Yeah, because you're only going to experience this once.
Yeah, it's like watching a movie, because as a creator, when I edit a video, it means I watch it over 100 times because I'm playing it over and over. So at the time I'm done, it's disgusting to me. You know, like some people with their music too, because they've gone over it, done one snare 1 million times.
Yeah.
So when the song is ready, they can't stand it.
Yeah.
That happens. There's some videos I can't watch. I'm like, sometimes I need to bring out myself from myself to like watch it. Like, okay, this person just followed me. How were they seeing it? Then I try and watch it from an outside perspective in order to make sense of it. But because I've been so inside the process, I'm unable to appreciate the result. It's kind of like if you spend the whole day cooking and you're done and you don't want to eat because you've just spent time in the but there's nobody else that deserves the food more than you. So watch the movie. That's powerful.
And it's necessary, right, to also contextualize. I feel like as creators, we also don't put things into context. So it's very easy to beat yourself up. So you're looking at someone talking about content creators. You're looking at someone who lives in a country where there's infrastructure, like good infrastructure, right? So they're not worried about electricity. They're not worried about generator noises. In fact, there's no traffic on the road. They're good. They'll get to their home on time and they'll be able to record these videos that they're trying to record. So you're looking at their videos and you're saying to yourself, man, I wish I had more videos. Like I wish I could churn out as much as them. They can churn out 4 videos in a day. You're in the middle of churning out 1, 10 minutes in, electricity is gone out. Generator, you're praying, you don't have a generator or you're praying for a generator to come on. You basically lost your energy, like that momentum that another creator somewhere else has to be like, I can shoot. You don't have it anymore, right? So now you have to psych yourself up. You have 3 hours to get yourself back into the energy of I can actually do this thing. And there's so much that comes with that. We're not contextualizing to give ourselves excuses as to why we can't do something. We're contextualizing to be honest and real with ourselves. That, in spite of all of this, I think that even makes you want to celebrate more, celebrate your wins more, because you're like, man, I did this with like limited resources, with like not all the opportunities that other people can get, but I'm doing it.
And it's a way to journal also. To establish points of reference in your life so that you look back. Because sometimes if you're not recording these things, like 1 year will just pass and you'll be like, what did I even do?
What did I do? That too.
I've not done anything.
But
if you can just go back and see these little things. So each one on their own may not have been major, but if you look back and you have 15 over a year, you're just like, wow. I did that. And then you can remember in those moments, you can remember how terrible you were feeling. You can remember the craziness you were going through, but you still did that thing. And you're able to just appreciate it more in retrospect. But you don't celebrate it, you don't acknowledge it, it just goes.
That's so powerful, because I've had times where I've literally had to say to myself that, Adora, you've basically done someone's 1 year of work in 1 quarter. In 1 quarter, you've accomplished what someone else is dreaming of accomplishing in 1 year. And because after that first quarter, maybe your second quarter is a little bit slow, you're kind of like, man, it's slow. Things are slow. What's working? And then you look back into your first quarter and you're like, yo, you did like 5 projects in Q1.
But because you were just like... You didn't realize.
It.
I love to see videos, I love seeing videos from Ask Lumina. It was such an amazing experience. It was one of the things that gave birth to what we have now, this show. But I was going through a very difficult time in my life, in my personal life. I almost didn't know if I was going to come that day. But I came, everything was so beautiful, and it just laid the foundation. We realized that, this thing can work. We didn't know if it was going to be 1 year from then or 2 years, but we just knew that there's something here and we need to preserve it and build on it. So I like that I have videos from that day, because I knew exactly how I was feeling, and then I knew how the videos looked, and I'm just able to appreciate it more, and also be grateful for where I am now, where I'm fine. I'm not in that place anymore. So it's just beautiful.
That's beautiful. So Salem, we've been talking about navigating creative doubt, the inner critic, how we can silence it, how we can work on that. But I want us to just make it more practical, right? So to someone who's watching this, who is in a space where they're struggling to put themselves out there because they feel like they're not getting enough attention, right? And so there's that struggle. What would you say to them?
I saw a video last week, Hayley Mulenda posted, and she was talking about how there was a period where she was posting YouTube videos sometime in 2018, 20 views, 50. She said she never had a video more than 50 views. But she got an email saying, we see these topics you're talking about on YouTube and we want you to come and speak at an event. And the event was at Wembley Arena in front of 16,000 people.
Yeah.
And they found her from a YouTube video where she was talking about a topic that they wanted more people to hear about. And she said like her career took off from there. So I need everybody who's watching this to know that when you show up on social media, you're not only doing it for for the response. You're doing it for yourself. You're doing it to add a brick to what you're building. You're building it to know more about yourself. Every time someone asks Mr. Beast to mentor them, he always says they should go make 100 videos. And when they make 100 videos, they should come back. And what ends up happening is they will either never come back because they don't get around to making 100 YouTube videos. That's very difficult to do. Or by the time you finish making 100 videos, you're not going to need the mentorship because you would have learned so much in the process. If you make one video, it's probably going to be crap. Your first video will most likely be crap. Your first, 5th, 10th, probably still be crap. Your first video, your first podcast, your first ebook, your first Instagram post, your first song, anything. But if you continue doing it, one day when you compare your first video to your 100th video, it'll be a night and day difference. Now, there's no point in that process between 1 to 100 where you'll be able to tell that this is when it changed, this is when it got better, but just that everyday showing up, that incremental commitment to yourself. One day you wake up and you're a better storyteller, you're a better script writer, you're just better as a result of showing up over a period of time. Now, your account growing, people noticing you, that's a side effect. That's a byproduct. At the end of the day, the most important person you're showing up for is yourself, to become better, to repeat that action over and over and over again. Every musician that is good at writing lyrics, every poet, they've had to do it over and over and over again. The only difference is that sometimes they've done it behind closed doors. They haven't done it in a place where everybody can see them. So if you're deciding to show up on social media, that's incredibly brave and I commend you for it. But I need you to know that you are creating a library of your progress that shows your journey. I try not to delete posts from my social media because I want to be able to tell people, go to January 2019 when I started posting content consistently for the first time. Scroll and see what I posted January 1st, January 2nd, January 3rd, and how the numbers progress. Go and check. So I just need you to know that self-doubt is real, but ultimately it is an attack on yourself. Because you get to the place where even when people are telling you that you're doing well, even when people are telling you that I love what you do, this has affected, you will not believe them because of self-doubt. So I need you to know that the belief in yourself is not going to come as a result of more people coming around. It's not suddenly going to make you now believe in yourself if you did not believe in yourself before. So believe in yourself today. Show up knowing that it's not about everybody else. Focus on the factors that are within your control. Understand that everybody you look up to, everybody you admire, everyone who has inspired you at any point of your journey, they do not show up because they don't have self-doubt. They show up in spite of the self-doubt. So feel the fear and do what you have to do anyway. We're always rooting for you.
Yep, we're rooting for you. Thank you, Sailor.
Of course.
Now
Thank
I feel
you
like
too.
I'm interviewing.
I'm holding the iPad in the next episode.
Fair.